In the Know, a radio program talking to the newsmakers in Ogle, Lee, DeKalb counties and beyond, keeping you in the know. Here's your host, Charles Van Horn.
Good morning and welcome to In the Know. Joining us in the studio, a couple of fine representatives from the Rochelle Fire Department, Lieutenant Tyler Carls and Ken Dougherty. Good morning.
Good morning.
Doing great. Glad to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Going to be talking about a lot of different things, including a big special event for you guys, a big fundraiser and party for the fire department. But first, let's talk about some things about the Rochelle Fire Department. Between yourselves and sort of the other agencies, the township and the flag and the steward, all those different little areas
around Fire Protection District.
That whole district. You guys cover a lot of miles.
That is correct. Yeah, so we cover 135 square miles of southeast Ogle County.
Yeah.
So it's the city limits of Rochelle, the village of Hillcrest, Creston, Stewart, and then the township of Flag Township to the west and the Flag Center unincorporated area.
Yeah, just a huge area. And of course, all the fire departments work together in the surrounding communities. That's always great with mutual aid. But with that amount of territory you guys cover, let's be realistic. You guys do a fantastic job with response times. Just due to how far you guys have to travel and how you guys are all ready to go. And there's been some recent staffing sort of adjustments you guys have begun since January with changes of how the number of people are on shift. How is that working out?
Yeah, so back in 2023, we kind of looked at some of our run numbers and saw the call volume that we have at the department and some of the staffing that we have on our daily staffing. Met with the city manager, the council, the fire chief, and we were able to kind of line out a plan to get some more staff. So with that in place now, we currently have 6 members per shift, 3 shifts of 6. We just recently did a restructuring of the fire department with our command staff, so we have a captain and lieutenant per each shift. So organizationally, it allows us to get out the door quicker, more time for training, and then more personnel available to respond to the emergencies. We have a lot of instances of simultaneous calls at the same time. So to be able to cover 2 ambulance calls or a fire and an ambulance call at the same time is super important.
And a lot of that has to do with, let's be honest about another fact, 2 interstates bisecting the area between the tollway and I-39. That leads to a fair number of crashes for you guys. And on the interstate, that's a dangerous place for a firefighter to be.
Absolutely. Actually, just the other day, we had several calls over the past weekend on the interstate. It's very dangerous. The motoring public's trying to get from point A to point B. We're trying to accomplish our job and do it together, as they're trying to motor and we're trying to get an emergency situation secure. So it can be difficult. We do take action to prevent any accidents as far as like how we position our vehicles on the interstate, take lanes of traffic down. We work very well with the state police and the sheriff's office that assist us out there on either the tollway or I-39. But you bring up a good point. I mean, our bedroom community population between the city of Rochelle and the Ogle district is just shy of 15,000 people. But you do have to account for all the industry in town with all the workers that commute to the city of Rochelle and then all the public that passes through our community on a daily basis. Our daytime population is pretty significant.
And on the paramedic side of things, you have an aging population. There are a lot of calls for people that need assistance in and around the home. Have you guys seen that increase over the last couple of years, the number of calls to go to somebody's home to assist them?
Yeah, our call volume across the board is up in every category as far as ambulance calls or motor vehicle accidents and even fires. The presence of nursing homes in the city of Rochelle, we have 5 different buildings that we go to that have aging population, and they have needs as well that we try to accommodate. Fortunately for us and our community, we have Rochelle Community Hospital that allows us to get to these patients, quickly assess them, quickly get them to a doctor in an ER, and then they can be transferred to definitive care to the surrounding areas of either Rockford or DeKalb or further in east.
Ken, how long have you been with the fire department?
I got in 2010 is when I started as a part-timer, and I was part-time for roughly 6 years, and then I got full-time. So I've been full-timer just over 9 years.
Is that sort of the typical career path to get started with the Rochelle Fire Department? Is to get those part-time hours in or volunteer in one of the surrounding departments?
So it can be. It's one option. I always think it's important to get guys from our community here at the department. It seems like guys that are from Rochelle, are invested in this town. They seem to stay longer.
They also know where all the alleys are.
They know where the alleys are. They know all the common places. They know a friendly face too, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I think is important. Is when we get called to somebody's house, I know a lot of the community members, and they'll see me and they'll see a friendly face, and that kind of reassures them that, okay, hey, Kenny's here. He's going to take care of us, and it kind of makes them feel better.
And a lot of people in the department are dual roles, firefighters and paramedics?
That's correct. So that is standard for us.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a paramedic to get hired. You have to be an EMT, and then the rest of the training, we'll put you through that. So we will get you trained up to the paramedic level within a couple of years or so.
And that dual role obviously helps a bit with just your standard things every day, because Rochelle doesn't have the call volume of fire and ambulances going on all the time, like in Aurora or Chicago. So you guys can do those dual roles. Does that lead to a problem when there are multiple calls, or is that where the support of other agencies nearby help out?
That's definitely where we lean on the support of the other agencies, and that's why that additional staffing that Tyler was talking about earlier is so important. So when we get that first call out, let's say it's an ambulance call, then we still have members available at the fire station if there is another fire call. But then we lean on Mavis, and Tyler can kind of...
Yeah, so our mutual aid partners, Kenny alluded to Mavis, which is the mutual aid box alarm system, and in Illinois, majority of fire departments subscribe to the Mavis program. So our partners that we work very closely with, Linscott Rock Fire Protection District, City of DeKalb, Oregon Fire Protection District, they come help us if we have major event or multiple calls that we can't cover. But the nice thing about being a dual role and trained in multiple disciplines is we kind of have somebody in the department, that kind of has the scope of training for every type of incident that we have.
Yeah.
Everybody's trained at the paramedic level or an EMT level, so we can cover the ambulance calls, we can cover our basic fires. But if we get hazardous material, we're all hazardous material technician certified, vehicle extrication for the interstate calls, technical rescues, whether it's a confined space or a building collapse or a trench rescue or a high angle rescue, we can mitigate that. We have divers on our dive team. We have members of the department that are on the sheriff's office SWAT team as tactical paramedics. So there's a lot of different opportunity in the fire department, and we're proud to be able to have all those disciplines across the agency to be able to serve the community the best we can.
With all of these different type of incidents you guys get, there's one thing they have in common. They are called in by somebody who just unwillingly became part of an incident. Something happened and they need help. I've talked to plenty of dispatchers over my years, and they always say that what they need from the person calling is two things: calm and information. What is the type of information you guys like to know about before you grab the handle on the side of the truck, climb in, and hit the sirens? What are things you would like people to tell dispatchers about what's going on before you get to a scene?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be remiss if I mess this part up, because my wife is a 911 dispatcher, so I gotta make sure I get this right. The biggest thing when somebody calls 911, like you alluded to, is remaining calm and trying to provide as much information as you can. The very first thing that they're going to ask you is, where are you? Yeah. That way, if the call gets disconnected, it doesn't plot correctly on their mapping system, at least they can get resources to an area or a physical address. And then they're going to start ascertaining what type of incident it is. Is it a law enforcement incident? Is it medical? Is it fire? Mm-hmm. And try to obtain as much information about that incident as they can. Sometimes when there's multiple calls, they may briefly speak to you. If it's a crash on I-39, they may get the location information. Okay, this is already a crash that's reported at mile marker 99, and then they can move on because they've already obtained the information, or they have a caller that's right there providing information, not necessarily a passerby. But the biggest thing that they ask for is the location. Yeah, and clearly without knowing where you're at, you can't get any help. Now, if it involves a person in a medical emergency, obviously you're probably going to know where you're at because you're probably in your own home or somebody else's home. What are some things that you guys would need to know about before you get to the scene? Well, one thing to hit on real quick, too, I think is important is calling 911. So a lot of people don't know that, like in an emergency situation, do not call the fire department. Yeah. If it's not an emergency, you can call the firehouse. But
there's not always somebody there, right?
Yeah.
So we do have that additional staffing. We have somebody there Monday through Friday kind of thing. But if it's after hours, after normal work hours, there might not be anybody there. So if you have an actual emergency and you call the fire station, we're out on 2 other calls or 3 other calls even, or maybe a large incident.
Yeah.
There might not be anybody there to answer the phone.
Yeah.
So, and also if there is somebody there, we're not necessarily trained to dispatch.
Yeah.
So you don't know who's going to answer the phone, and they might not get the pertinent information because we're not trained to dispatch.
Yeah, and that's crazy in my mind that somebody would be like, by the way, my stove is now a ball of fire. I wonder if anyone's home at the fire station.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, no. Call 911. Save your kitchen.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a lot faster. You know somebody's going to answer the phone. They're going to get the right information, and they do a really good job. And they dispatch us right away, and they get us moving in the right direction with all the pertinent information.
And then going back to if you're at a medical call, what are the kinds of things that you should probably ascertain of the person who's either been involved in an injury or ill?
We want to know their, as paramedics responding to the scene, we want to know their level of consciousness. Are they awake and talking? Are they unresponsive? Are they breathing? Do they have a pulse? Those types of things. And the dispatchers have a system called PowerPhone that they utilize a card system for specific types of incidents, and they can flip to that, and that's where all their questions are generated from. So they'll be able to ask the pertinent questions and obtain that information. But yeah, as medics riding in an ambulance going to a call, we want to know some of those things of, are they awake and talking? Do they have a pulse? Was there a physical injury? Is there any trauma? Did somebody fall off of something and injure themselves? Or is it more of a medical where they're having a heart attack or a stroke, trouble breathing, that type of thing?
One thing you guys have coming up soon is a big party that'll, I guess, help you guys get some funds together to do some good things for the people of Rochelle and the surrounding areas. That's going to be coming up just on April 5th, right? What are some of the things that are going to be happening that night?
Yeah, so Saturday night, April 5th, from 7 to midnight down at the flight deck is our annual Fireman's Ball. The last several years, the event has been hosted at the flight deck, and we're very appreciative of the relationship we've built up with them. But this event is ran through our social organization. So it's members of the Rochelle Fire Department that meet monthly outside of fire department hours. And basically the goal of our social organization is funding community engagement projects. We work with the Community Action Network. The Rochelle Township High School, we provide a scholarship for a student to go for 2 years of tuition paid over to Kish College. We've been doing that for several years. We sponsor Little League baseball teams, and then firefighter benevolence. If somebody's in need within the department or has a loss in their family and stuff like that, we try to provide some help with that. So the Fireman's Ball really is just kind of a time for us to get together, raise some funds for those community events that we participate in, but then also share that with the community, engage with the community. A lot of times we spend, dealing with somebody on their worst day. You know, if you're having a medical emergency or a fire, that's the interaction they have with us, and we like to have more of a positive interaction at this community event where we can sit down and talk. And we really like to talk about what we do at the fire department. And kind of the opportunities, and maybe grab attention of a young community member that we may be able to get to join the fire department. So this is kind of that opportunity to do that. We enjoy it.
What's on the menu that night? What type of entertainment do we have going on?
So Backcountry Roads will be sponsoring our entertainment for the evening. So the theme, several years ago, we did a theme for like the Roaring 20s. After COVID, when we started again, that went off really well. We encouraged people to dress up. So this year's theme is 90s country music. Kenny and I are big 90s country music connoisseurs.
Well, I mean, you came in all dressed up today. I was kind of wondering what was up with the boots and the hats.
Exactly,
but
the belt buckles, everything.
The whole nine. So with the 90s country theme, we have a country band. We would enjoy people to show up dressed up in all their country's garb. And just look to have a good evening.
Will there be a place to get a photo taken with a bale of straw by chance?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep. We'll have a little photo booth action set up. We got some raffles that are going to happen. We have a vacation giveaway raffle.
Oh, nice.
Tickets will be sold at the event. There'll be some commemorative cups that'll be sold. Silent auction items, which we've been working with Trish Herrera from the Chamber. She's been great helping us out with that. So we'll have a silent auction.
Somebody wants to find out more about the Rochelle Fireman's Ball. Where do they go on the internet, or who do they contact?
Yeah, so contact the Rochelle Fire Station 815-562-2121.
Don't call that number if your stove's on fire.
Exactly.
Call that number if you're interested in the fireman's ball.
That is the non-emergency number. But yeah, absolutely. And on our Facebook page, we have a Rochelle Fire Department social organization Facebook page that we can provide all that information. There's flyers out and about.
All right. Well, Ken, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me this morning and letting us know about the big party. Hope you guys have a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's In the Know. The program returns next week at this time with another great conversation with someone from your community.